Aloha Friday, Hulahans.
It
You're back on the
certainly is.
Maui Hot List Hulahan episode. I don't know how many. There's like 300 at this point. I'll count them over the weekend. I'll tell you on Monday. But you've been around for a while. Mahalos to you. If you're new, Komo Mai, welcome to the Maui Hot
That's
List
right.
Hulahan. Danny, Johnny
Ah,
over there, always with the cool Aloha shirts.
hey, that's right. Little Ari South today here. I haven't seen her or him or they come out with a new line yet. Haven't paid too much attention, but we'll see. Yes, wearing Ari South today here on 4th of July Eve.
First time I've heard that. 4th of July Eve. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about 4th
Yeah,
of July later in the show. But let's start off
yes,
with
indeed.
Lahaina, Johnny. We've been
Buddy,
voicing our frustration that it's a slow moving pace, but we got some updates on some new things going on.
it's very, very exciting. I'm sure everybody's seen the news if you have social media, if you're on Maui and Hawaii, because it was on all the news. Ulu Olele. That is going to be the first draw back to Lahaina. It's going to be on the grounds of the outlets of Maui. So across the street from the McDonald's, if you remember, more the north portion of Lahaina. And I'm excited. I'm buzzing. It's going to be a temporary situation for a couple of years. Some food trucks. They're going to show preference for local vendors that may have lost something in the fire as opposed to going and getting new type of vendors to come in there. And then that was only part of the news, right? So then it was shared with us that there's actually been quite a few permits that have been pulled. There's one that's actively rebuilding. I'm hoping that's the Fleetwood building because I heard some stirrings about that, but it's getting started. And now I'm thinking, okay, so that's why McDonald's has the black dust cover around it. Those people across the street want to come eat at Mickey D's. And then maybe it spreads across the street to Foodland. We can get a proper grocery store going in as another option to Safeway. So I'm excited, Danny. And we've said it, and now we're going to see if it comes true. But I do feel that from here on, people start to show up more, true lovers of Maui, to see what's happened each year and that this starts to grow on, right?
People
So
are invested in the recovery of Lahaina. Absolutely. You see, some of our colleagues have channels almost devoted entirely to the recovery of Lahaina, and they got some raving fans, right? Thousands and thousands of people tuning into their videos of Lahaina recovery, banyan tree recovery, front street walkthroughs, all those kinds of things. So I think this says there's a big appetite and excitement for seeing the rebuild. For the underdog coming back, for the restoration. A lot of people love Lahaina. For what it was, in all of its rickety quirks, there's a lot of super fans for Lahaina Town.
it's so true. And, we talked about it last week, and I think it was last week, Friday, because we had, somebody from our show that lives in Lahaina kind of do some due diligence by calling the county. And then she shared with us that indeed, there's some families that just don't know what they're going to do. And that's another part of that story. So Maui County's happy to take that property off your hands if you don't know what you're going to do. And then my understanding is it turns out being some sort of public space or something like that. So that sounds cool. Also found out from the story the real reason why Chemo's, Lahaina Fish Company, all those that were literally Lahaina Yacht Club that were literally over the ocean, why there is going to be some real difficulties, maybe impossible to rebuild those. This is where I forgot how the state of Hawaii owns all land up to the high tide mark. So while we're dealing with sea level rise, the state is taking up more property, right? That's how that works. And so there was leases for these properties to be able to be over the ocean because that's technically state land. And those leases were done away with after the fires. And so these people really only own a small portion of property truly that they don't know what to do with right now. So we may never see that. And I could definitely see the focus being across the street for a very long time before we deal with actual Front Street itself. So be it. Let's play on, right? Let's just get going. Let's just start doing it. I'm grateful to see it. It's a very, very exciting story. So I'm happy.
That's the unfortunate reality of disaster is things have to go back to the legality, the codes, the right way of doing things. Over time, things get a bit lax, right? And we see that all over Maui with different unpermitted structures in residential. I think similar with commercials, like things that were allowed in the past. Well, now the rules have changed. And so if we're rebuilding, then we got to go by the new rules. That puts a big kink in this whole process. I'm thinking like, okay, if they do let them rebuild eventually, like, is everyone become like the old Cheeseburger in Paradise building where it's this very small, almost Japanese looking, we're going up a
Right.
couple floors, but it's really skinny? Is
Yeah,
that kind of
cram it
what the
in.
vibe's gonna be? I mean, it's possible, right? You can develop like that. I live in Asia. You see that all over the place where they build like a really skinny, tall, 2, 3 story structure and they have a restaurant and it just works. But I don't know if that's something that they would allow or if eventually maybe they revisit some of this overwater or if the ocean side just becomes emptiness.
I found something very interesting. We have clients that are looking for land in Lahaina specifically. They're Lahaina people, just something that they want to have for their family. So I was doing a deep dive in Lahaina land, and I came across a very interesting piece. And it sits between 505 basically and the old Camp Third Elementary School. And it's for sale right now for like 3.5 million. And what was interesting to me is the zoning is hotel. And so I do remember that there was a slew of weird kind of like almost like hostel structures that were close to 505 and stuff like that. And now that makes sense as to why those could operate. Also in a historic district. So what that means is that Maui County is going to be leaning on you quite a bit as you try to rebuild on this structure here. But it was just amazing to me the weirdness of our zoning, right?
It's hotel zoned.
So what does that mean? Well, it means that you can vacation rent what you build there technically. And it used to be a single level 1,700 square foot, 3 bedroom, 1 or 2 bath house there.
Could become a house, could become a boutique hotel, could
Not sure.
become a lot of things. By the zoning, it could become a lot of things. Now, what will they actually allow? That's a bigger question.
We have these apartment zones and these hotel zones, and you have houses on them. I drive up my road, right? I had clients of ours that were just telling me, John, I'm so interested in Napili Ridge. And I was like, I don't really see Napili Ridge for you. And they're like, why? I go, well, because that's the worst road on Maui. And they're like, yeah, it can't be that bad. I'll go ahead and I'll video it for you. I'll video what my road is like. I'll show you the terror that I have as I try to come out on Huief Road because somebody's always coming and
It's like
almost
playing
hitting me.
Frogger.
Bro, it's seriously. And they're flying them. I'm like, bruh, slow down. This road is junk. That's why you're over here on my side. But anyway, they got it. And that's just a reminder to me about why AOAOs, HOAs are so important for counties to make sure that they go in so you can have things like this, private roads that can stay on there. But why is Napili Ridge hotel zone? Why is it part of NBCID? Is all of Napili this? That's where everybody's crapping on Greg, the big monster house that's there. They were pissed that, oh, he's going to try to vacation rent this. It's a hotel. Well, guess what the zoning is? NBCID. That's why all those other big houses that are just below it are vacation renting. Somehow he got it built with the county. So this is the wild, wonderful world of zoning on a very tiny island.
As we're on that topic of zoning, Lahaina, rebuild, we've been talking about your dilemma, Johnny, of having a lot that you could potentially rebuild, but maybe thinking there could be an alternative option. Options sometimes can be a little bit overwhelming because a lot of them can work. Like we're adaptable as people, so it's like, well, this could work or that could work and that could potentially work and I could see that and I get excited about this vision. And I think that's sort of a similar feeling that a lot of people who watch the show and reach out to us have as well, right? They're like, well, I kind of want the house, but I could go vacation rental and make a little money too. And then maybe I could go this way. And I have like 3 or 4 different options.
And this is where, us starting out with this Aloha Vision Quest is so important, right? Because my tendency is always to just, okay, I know inventory. I can send you something that's very similar to what you're
Solutions.
talking about. That's it. Like that's where I go, right? Typical testosterone. Here's the solution, but it's from my eyes because I haven't been able to see exactly what you're hearing. I'm misinterpreting a lot of times. I start shopping out of my own budget or what I think that would be great. And that's the worst thing possible, right? So that's why it's so important for us to get in. And this is where we can help you funnel that vision down to what you're looking at. Because I'll tell you, if you keep it very, very wide and it's just we're looking at everything, I'm not going to be able to get you down to the solution. It really is a game of elimination. And that starts with an area, and then we can hone it down to bedroom and bath count and budget and all those things. But really have an understanding of what your lifestyle that you desire is going to look like is really, really how we can kind of put you into that picture. But without that, we can't do it.
So what it comes down to is the lifestyle. So the myth to bust today, that's technically what we're going to be doing on Fridays moving forward. We're kind of skipping over it this week because 4th of July. The myth is in order to move forward with something on Maui, you need to cast a really wide net and look at every opportunity and explore every side of the island, every neighborhood, every property style, and don't limit yourself. That is the myth. The bigger the net, the wider the opportunity, the more the options, the more indecisive you become. And I related a little bit back to the grocery store situation when I come back to the US and I go to the grocery store and I suddenly have 17 different types of milk to choose from and 25 different types of cheeses and 100 different types of cereal. It is decision fatigue. I go here, I go to the supermarket, there's 3 types of cheese, there's 2 types of yogurt, I got 3 or 4 types of meat, and that's it.
There
Choices
you
are
have it.
easier when they're limited down, and we help you kind of narrow down those choices by the lifestyle, the things that you tell us that you like, and most importantly, what you don't like. What you absolutely don't want to see. If you're thinking condos, I absolutely don't want a big building. I don't want really high HOAs. I don't need a pool, etc. Then we start to narrow down that choice. Right, Johnny?
It really is. It's because I don't know if it put up is the right word, but we're okay with so much, right? That's why, again, I reflect back to how I've learned that when I'm going to cook for somebody, I do not ask you what you like because you can't tell me what that is because you have so many choices in your mind. But when I ask you what you hate, it's right at the top of your tongue. I don't eat peas, carrots, there's no raisins. Do not put mayonnaise in my stuff. Very, very decisive, right? So that's how I'm going to approach this as well. Do you see yourself in X and just start trimming it down, right? That's the fun thing.
Whittle it down and we'll discover what makes the most sense for you. Then you decide between a few options and move forward. How wonderful.
That's it. I mean, you're just not going to have the same amount of options that you would in the mainland as you're going to have here. We're a tiny, tiny island, right? So that is truth.
Less options is a good thing.
I think so too.
Other Coconut Wireless, Johnny, we are seeing the up and up of the rental market. We mentioned the other day, 26% increase in bookings. Maui Paradise Properties shared that information. One of our buddies over there, Kevin Eliason, Friday Pineapple Minute, which will come out later. A few of you asked about that. It is an email that we get as realtors. If you want to see some of it, we can forward it to you. Just drop your email. You can do that. But an increase. Are we on the up and up? Is this the time to get involved, Johnny? What do you think?
Well, so, we do get some good coconut wireless now from clients of ours that are involved in this space here. And so they've been celebrating the fact that they're gaining bookings. However, they're also lamenting the fact that they're just not seeing the range of rates that you typically would for like high season. They felt like, wow, we're still getting a very, very low rate there. So I paid attention to that yesterday as well. Another past client who self manages hits me and she's like, oh my God, I'm just not getting a lot of rate bookings for August and September. So I had to remind her that, well, it's because it's a shoulder month. And then I looked and, she's got a beautiful studio here down in Napili, but she's still trying to get like a couple $100 for a studio. And our friends have a beautiful 1 bedroom in Maui, direct ocean. They're getting $120. Also presented the deal of the week yesterday, Sansa Kahana, big boy, right? Beautiful. And we had somebody that's interested do some due diligence in it. And their comment was, wow, it's only getting a couple $100 a night. You did some of your own. You said, well, it's averaging about 300. Well, this is the reality of it. This is how a recovery begins, is you have to make it such a irresistible offer that people forget all the ick that they're carrying in their heads. Well, the locals don't like us. They said, stay away after the fires. We want to be respectful. We want to do this. Oh my God, that's $120 a night. Let's book a weekend from LA. That's where the whole story changes. And we do have clients that are coming out. They're staying at the place. They're staying at the Mahana, and he was telling me the rate he's getting. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we're like July 4th weekend. We are in summer now, but this is what a recovery looks like. And this is where some people see the opportunity to capture the entire cycle of the recovery. Is they want to start at the bottom of the escalator and ride the whole thing up. And then there's going to be others that are going to kind of look for the midway and they're going to say, okay, I'm seeing more people do this. I'm hearing on your show that there's been more activity. I'm starting to feel that I'm cool to get in. And then there's just going to be a whole big bunch of you up here that are just waiting for the COVID all clear sign. It's just going to be hyper competitive again. That's what I could potentially see as we start to recover on Maui. So timing is very, very important here. When we're in the good times, we do see like a steady uptick, 3 to 5% plus sometimes in terms of equity. Start out at $1 million, that compounds very quickly. But if you get in at the wrong cycle, i.e. the Great Recession cycle, maybe the COVID, and you weren't able to get rid of it because you paid so much here, that's where the timing is important. Maui tends to be a forgiving market. And I want to kind of reframe something. I always say, well, people sometimes make the mistake of starting out in Kihei where they're familiar with vacations. And then as they want to live here long term, they move up country where it's more comfortable. I don't know if that is a mistake. What they did is they just decided to go on to a different, longer version of their dream. And Maui is I don't want to say forgiving, but the equity here allows that a lot of the time to where you can sell, get some equity, make that next move. And we see that happen here all the time.
And here's a difference of opinion between two individual partners in a marriage or in a relationship is sometimes one wants to execute the dream perfectly. This is one choice, one shot. We want to nail it the first time. We don't want to make any other decisions in the future. This is one and done. And the other one is like, well, I just want to get started. I don't care where we start, and we can change our mind later. And sometimes that can be really difficult to overcome in the process if you're seeing this decision a little bit differently.
And plan for it and have these discussions up front. Start picking around. Am I dragging you along? That's the question, the one that maybe has the bigger fire. And just kind of throw it out there on the table because we're going to go there in the Aloha Vision Quest because we know how important both sides are. And the one that's the most quiet, that's the one we tend to need to pay attention to.
Got more thoughts to share. One other thought around this kind of growing rental numbers is the easiest way to entice Americans is double the portion size or half the
So
price.
true.
Right? It's
That's
kind of a
right.
metaphor, but if we give you a lot more for your value, you're excited. And if we give you the same value for less cost, then you're also excited. And that's where the rental market's at this point. We're giving you half the price, quarter the price. Right? You're telling me the Hyatt is $500 to $700 a night, but I can get a 2-bedroom, 1,600 square foot condo for $200 to $300 a night. That is a massive, massive difference.
Rates are crazy right now, and I do expect to see people start to come back. I think that maybe the fear that a lot of people are seeing is not the further out bookings, which is how we kind of keep a barometer on the health of the rental market there. But I think that maybe we've conditioned people by coming in last minute because that's when the biggest rates drop as well. That's what it's been as we've been trying to kind of get this market going. And it's like, oh my God, we're coming back. And then March is looking great. And oh, wait a minute, we have Kona lows. And now the word gets out there that some bad weather event happened that just literally causes people to completely change all their vacation plans, even though they're staying on the west side, right? But that just happens. That's part of news and just how people react. Weather's super duper important for people as they come over here. I remind them, dude, it's Maui, so throw that weather report away, but whatever.
A lot of the people that come to Maui are genuinely sensitive, caring, loving people. And when they hear that there's a weather event or some sort of impact somewhere, their first thought is to pull back. Well, hey, I don't want to be a burden to the island. I don't want to be a burden to you guys. I don't want to be a burden to these workers that are struggling to take care of their family. We even hear it in real estate, right? Like there was weather event and people didn't want to reach out to potentially buy something because they thought they were putting you in a pickle. And you're like, well, I'm just chilling in the Pili cooking side on my barbecue. Like we're all good.
Yep. But I'm grateful, right? I mean, it does show how much people really, really do care about this island. I mean, there's some bad apples that show up here and I get annoyed, and tourists are an easy target when, I'm road raging.
That's everywhere. And with that, 4th of July tomorrow, a lot of the country is celebrating 250 years. There are some people that don't celebrate this particular holiday on Maui, and it's not a big deal. For other people, it's still kind of a big deal. And then in between, what say you, Johnny? In terms of local experience, what are the vibes of 4th of July?
Yeah, it's never been the explosive event like New Year's, where we literally put on neighborhood firework displays that can outdo any commercial professional show that's out there, right? It's a little more subdued. Definitely fireworks that are still out there. There's always going to be a core group of Native Hawaiians that feel badly about strictly American celebratory type of holidays, July 4th, Thanksgiving. And, it's just because they still kind of live in that bad history. I'm going to continue to just kind of remind, my other Hawaiian people that Bill Clinton really did apologize for what the United States did a long time ago. So it really is on us now to either accept the apology and move on, which I would suggest, and not carry that as our big identity, or you just carry the contempt with you and then you're just always pissed off about that anything's America. What I'm looking at is, man, I'm celebrating the fact that FEMA and everybody showed up at such a high level here and just basically allowed people to continue living some sort of life, get shelter, food. Friends of mine that saw the opportunity in front of them and saved up so much of their money because, they were basically being taken care of their core basic needs. I don't know of very many countries that do this at that level. And then just the outpouring of donations that happened. I focused donations towards a certain family. So I watched it happen with my very own eyes. And you always hear that about us Americans. I mean, if there is any kind of disaster that happens in the world, you show up, man. And so I get it. I understand. I'm both sides though, right? And I'm not going to deny my Holy Father's side of the my culture, and I'm not going to deny my mom's Japanese Hawaiian culture there. I'm going to live it with all of it. That's just who I am, and I feel that that's how I present myself. Is I want to look at it from everybody's eyes, and I'm not going to just sway on one side just because the gang does it over there. I'm going to look at it with fresh eyes and just be wide eyed and open because I've seen
I
it.
love it.
Yeah, man.
Generally, it's a lesser holiday than New Year's, for sure, in terms of the celebration, the excitement around the island. But there are some areas that get really excited about 4th of July, Johnny, namely upcountry. Makawao Rodeo, the parade kicked off about a week ago on the 27th, and then the 3rd today through the 5th is the actual rodeo. They go all out upcountry. It's rodeo, it's dress up, it's American flags, it's parties, palehu, the whole shebang.
Give us a reason to put some boots on, man. I am telling you, like that is a look over here. Full on cowboy boots, board shorts, flannel shirt. That's an upcountry fit right there, man. My daughter was part of it. Kulele, Hawaii, guys. You need some Hawaiian style jewelry. Look her up. My youngest son went and helped her set up, and he's texting my wife at like 10 o'clock last night. So it's still going. Daughter had to wake up and show up at the Hyatt. That's a big deal up there at Upcountry. That is something that everybody gets their arms around in Hawaii, is that rodeo and all that good fun up there.
We talk about microclimates. It's a bit of a microculture upcountry in terms of the horses, the rodeo, the community. So that is what gets some people excited about living up there. Is it's a certain vibe that you don't feel that in Kapalua or Wailea or Kihei or even town. You go upcountry, you go into horse country, you go into small town, go into gatherings. This rodeo tends to be a big deal. That's what a lot of people are looking forward to on 4th of July. In addition to that, there are a few other events around the island. There is a fireworks show in Wailea. A lot of the boats out of Maui Harbor sell tickets. You can get out on the boat, watch it from the water. Pretty cool. I've done that a few times in other places. Fireworks on the water is awesome. The Westin on the west side is doing a drone show. That's become super popular, especially over here. Now it's coming more into the US, but 200 drones flying in different formations off the coast. So there's a few boats going out of Kaanapali in Lahaina to watch that.
Totally. I mean, give us a reason to pulehu and barbecue, right? I mean, you're going to smell nothing but teriyaki tomorrow. That's for sure.
I'm sure the beaches will be full, fishing
Yep.
all along,
Yep.
Oluwalu covered in trucks and tents and fishing poles.
So that was something that I was seeing even starting yesterday is all along Wahikuli Beach Park, people are already starting to put tents up. I think it could be a very big camping kind of holiday, down at the beach, ulua pools. So it's going to be fun.
People excited.
Yep.
Holidays tend to be slightly different on the island than they are on the mainland, and 4th of July, no different. Some excitement in one particular area around the hotels and the tourist centers as well, showing off. In between, some mixed feelings, and you're going to see that everywhere.
One more thing before we jump into the hula. Bill 88, I guess what the first reading is going to happen on the 6th. There's something that has to do with that was pushed to the 6th. Today is technically a holiday throughout the state, right? So no banks are going to be open. This is the July 4th holiday here. So that's going to be coming on the 6th. We shall see. Looks like they're going to be taking advantage of low-hanging fruit. What do I mean by that? Timeshares, places that are run like condos or like hotels, even some small mom and pop kind of small amount of units type of structures. So we'll see what that's going to be like coming down the pipeline.
Right on. It's always something to track. It seems like an ever-changing thing the last few years. So stay in tune, especially if you're on path number 3 looking for a vacation rental condo. Comes with a little income to help you cover the costs or provide some income in your season of life. And with that, let's jump into the hot list, Johnny. Let's show some of the active pendings and solds, talk about the neighborhoods, give some insights, and ultimately show you what is moving. And we're going to start with the one that's not moving. 576 days of camping here on the beach, Halemahina, John.
Leasehold, but everybody loves it because of that little beach there. And look at what they didn't do. They didn't put up some kind of giant seawall, it looks like, huh? So 576 days in, we started out at a very aspirational 1,449,000. We're down to 810. Halemahina's got a shot. Can we agree? It's leasehold. Could be a shoe-in for Bill 88. How long is the lease on this, Danny? Remind me. I want to say 2037 or so. Oh, no, 46. So there you have it. You're going to own it for another 20 years. You can get a 15-year note on it. But man, your fees, that's 5K.
Easy 5K in your maintenance fee, plus your taxes, plus a special assessment. There's the potential, I don't know if you'd call it advantage at this point of a leasehold, but $810,000 for a 3-bedroom. So lower upfront costs, higher monthly. To find a 3-bedroom vacation rentable condo is a real outlier. And when you do find them, it's not going to be $800,000.
That's truth.
Could be an interesting option to play for someone. But yeah, $600,000+ in reduction in 576 days. They're feeling it, Johnny.
They really are.
Let's see what they paid for it. Can we see? Can we see? Can we see? Ooh, they tried to sell it for 2.5 in 2023. That's how crazy the market was then. Ooh,
This place has
$1.6
raving
million
fans
more.
because of that little beach, and that's what you're looking to hook there. But there's just so much uncertainty, man. So that's why.
A lot of uncertainty. Condition-wise, some remodel, but maybe needs a little bit as well. If this was fully done out with the new remodel, I think it would have moved already.
That's what you have to deal with now is deal with the problems. Hua Street. So here we are, 4.65. We're up at Pineapple Hill. So not a lot of dirt to have to deal with. That's the positive up there. We're just shy of half an acre here. It's convenient, Kapalua. 340 days in.
One of the more desirable neighborhoods on the west side, one of the best gated communities, Pineapple Hills. I'm going to say this one feels a bit dated inside, which is why it's sitting for a long time.
Travertine was so nice back in 2006, 2008.
People want new over and over again. You see it later in the show. Some newer construction, newer remodel stuff moves very, very quickly. People see this, they see a big project. They see hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in remodel to do this. The key here is you have these golf course and ocean views. I think that's also why they're hanging out at their price. They feel like they're separated from some of the other units as a result.
Man.
Down to the south side has been a popular vacation rental for a long time, the Maui Vista. This one hanging out, though, 324 days, Johnny. They came out at $725 for a 1-bedroom.
This is exactly how you lose money with a listing. Is you were just behind the entire time, every single one of those 324 days. And I get it. Your remodel is beautiful, and it's a very big but. Trying to recoup the cost from the remodel, right?
That's what it is. Probably what they paid for it in addition to the remodel. You're kind of stuck. The recent sales, 450, 400, all cash. So they're still above the recent comps at 324 days on market. It's a tough spot to sit in.
It sure is, brother.
But why people like it, Charlie Young, Cam 1, real close across the street. No issues with sea erosion, any of that kind of stuff. Has all the amenities, multiple pools, multiple tennis courts, ample parking. That's why people like the Maui Vista.
On Exhibit 2, is it worth the risk, guys? That's what you have to ask yourself.
That's the play at this point.
I'd play it.
Whoo! Talk about poor timing, Johnny. This one is an interesting one when it comes to poor timing. They bought this thing for 2.1 just a couple of years ago. They put $500,000 into the remodel. They tried to sell it for a little over 2.6 a year ago. They changed their pictures a few times, thinking that would get it moving, and it hasn't. And now they're down to 2.245. And neighborhood comps, Johnny, they're still 300,000, 400,000 over probably where they should be. And from our understanding, Little Coconut Wireless unwilling to negotiate. That's a triple whammy. And
so is the market. Can we agree?
There you go. So the remodel, super white, super clean. I've heard mixed reviews about that. Some people like the clean and white. Some people are like super boring. To me, I mean, you're asking $2 million for a very plain, normal remodel. Yeah. Nothing fancy about the remodel.
Pool in the front yard.
You see this remodel in any sort of property across the island.
For me, the finishes are what's available here is what I looked at.
They didn't go above and beyond. Has a couple of rental units downstairs and in the back. I think that's what they're sitting on as well to really push it.
KGE, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 539. KGE on Exhibit 2? Can't remember.
I don't think it was.
I don't think it was either.
Has the split. It's ground floor, has been vacation rentable, going away at this point in 2031. It's fascinating to me, Johnny, the range of cost on a 1-bedroom condo. You see everything from like 300,000 to 600,000-700,000 in Kihei right now, all across the board. Not so
Agreed.
much consistency. And some leaves you a bit head scratching. Some you're like, oh, okay, I can get that. Kihei Garden Estate's super convenient, right behind the Times in Kihei. So you're short stroll to the supermarket, short stroll into Azeka, across the street from the beach, has the amenities, pool, hot tub, barbecue, those sorts of things. There's a lot to like about it. I don't really like 539,
I'm with you.
but they're holding out hope that you might keep vacation renting it.
So they dropped the 20K, right? So that's why they're kind of showing it. Here you go. You can see a whale jump. That's what we're told here.
Going location
So
play on this one.
did remodel, right?
Some
Except for the
remodel,
tile. Yeah.
not the tile.
Nope. We hung up the fish. We hung the fish up and we did some new art.
Yeah, maybe
That's
new appliances. That's
okay.
what it is. So you can see, we mentioned on the show the other day, one of our clients at Lahaina Shores pushed the fridge over to the other side. You've seen it in the earlier listing. Sometimes they push the fridge on the other side. That adds a lot of space in the kitchen. This one didn't because you do have the stairs there. But $725 for a 2-bedroom, Johnny.
Trying to find the market though, to their credit, right? Threw it out at 789 a little over a month ago. Let the downward spiral begin.
These are the toughest ones to pitch. One, you have the market changes and the rentability, but then you have a partially remodeled condo as well that people are like, I don't know how to take it. Like, some things are nice and updated, but then I see like, I'm probably going to want to redo the floors and I'm probably going to want to redo the bathrooms. So then I have to think about a remodel, and then, $75 to $100,000 in remodel. Like, is it worth $825? That is the stuck point for a lot of people when they look at something like this.
Agreed.
If it's fully remodeled, it's moving. If it's a total fixer and they're dropping the price, it's probably moving. But now you're stuck in between.
There's too many options out there where people are like, I'll wait for the next thing to come out, right? 559. So I get it. It's got the yard. You put some floors in it, did some crazy granite, got a ductless.
Got the wood wall.
You did an accent wall. So again, some remodel.
Decently updated with the yard, $599, maybe a little strong, $559.
560, getting there.
We're getting there, I think. We'll see. A lot of comps are going to start coming out around this price point. You'll see. This feels like grant money waiting to be spent. And yeah, $800 a month in your fees at your Parkside. No further amenities. No pool, no barbecue area, no tennis, nothing like that.
That seems to be the most confounding thing about that grant money, because so many people would want to be in Lahaina, and there's so few that actually qualify for that, right? In terms of age of building, the ones that are new are being reconstructed, so you can't get conforming financing.
Yeah, the rules feel pretty simple for the grant. It's like it has to be built after 1978. It has to be seller occupied, no tenant occupied, and you have to have a professional license home inspection. That's about it. But if there's any sort of litigation or unwarrantable financing going on, then no can. And there's a lot of that on the west side.
And what's so interesting though is like these people are basically committing to live outside of the west side for 30 plus years with how the grant money works. Like you can't really sell it and make money on it, but we'll watch how it plays out. And you know what? It's still a blessing for these people, but I'm just talking it through my head here. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2.6 million at the Kaanapali Ali'i. So redone in '05. They're huge. This is a 1 bedroom, 2 bath, one of two opportunities to own vacation rentable condo on Kaanapali Beach proper. So that's advantage there.
Decent square footage, Johnny, 1,400 square feet for a 1 bedroom. I hate the steps going into the kitchen and in the unit. I think those are trip hazards. Don't know why they did it, but you don't buy these for the rental income, especially on a 1 bedroom. We say roughly 10% gross income. You're not getting $250,000 a year in rental income off this thing.
I concur.
So if you're renting this out, you are just trying to recoup a little bit of the cost, maybe justify it. You're not looking to make money or crush it. That is for sure. And there you go. You also have kind of soji doors on these. I didn't know that. No more steps up to the toilet. You got steps up, steps down all over the place. Not so appealing, but very desirable complex. Has all the amenities, the pools, the gym, all the things, Johnny.
Yeah, absolutely. Like staying at a hotel there with a
And
big
tennis.
square footage. Hale Makai, what a dramatic photo. So I did not see the parking lot. There's my
29
Scotia view.
stack. You're pushed way back in the angular design of Kahale Makai. This one has been sold a lot of times in the last few years, Johnny.
Flipping in and out. Kahale Makai on exhibit 2, I cannot remember.
I don't think so.
So either.
Has been vacation rentable. going away in 2031, 1,100 in fees. Has the amenities here, 565 for a one bedroom. I think some of these are kind of holding out in their price. They're not going down so much as you see in other properties. There's the
Hmm.
opportunity, the moment in this uncertainty around Bill 9, Bill 88 is some properties are showing deals. Some complexes are showing deals, others are not. So you get to choose. Do you want more of the deal or you really like the location? The risk level is up to you.
Okay, the ridge has moved 25 days in. A bit back there, but that gave you these commanding views. Kapalua Ridge, again, interestingly, not on Exhibit 2. The only one that was Kapalua Bay Villas, which is just so interesting to me. Because basically what the county is saying is that in a resort area called Kapalua, you can either stay at the Ritz short term or the Montage, because you can own those. And then basically that was going to be about it. And then they threw the Bay Villas into the mix there.
Potentially. But the other two condos, at this point, no can.
I think they got a shot though if they throw this in front of whatever this new process is for H3 and H4. Because there, I saw that as another one of their reasons for these would be fast lane, and that had to do with local affordability. And I remember one of the county council members made mention that specifically she was keeping these carved out because locals should be able to live in places that are all types of values, but we are able to because we take our homestead exemption wherever we. That was an original bathroom as well with that tiny tile there.
This to me speaks of someone who absolutely wanted this specific location in the building, Johnny, because it's a
Mm-hmm.
partial remodel. It's got a lot of originality. It's a price point that we've seen over the last year or two that hasn't moved very quickly.
Because for me, dude, I would have shown this guy Joanne's at Kapalua Bay Villas because that 2 bedroom, 3 bath, an extra 600, I get it, but that remodel is insane. Here we go. Finally, some action at Villas at Kahana Ridge, 3 bedroom, 2 bath for 650. There is still one sitting out there in the high fives, but that's the REO bank owned. That one just cannot go away. But
Decent unit,
good to,
decent price,
yeah,
three
man.
bedrooms. Let's
Hey,
go. But 1,300 a month in fees. Oof.
so I would say this is one of the advantages if you wanted to use that grant money as well, is up here, right? Napili Villas, Napili House, they come up. These are some of your newest. The Breakers.
It's pretty crazy. On a deal that I'm involved at Yale Parkside, those buyers have a loan for like $30,000. That's it. A very small mortgage and then just your HOA. So your monthly carrying costs probably $1,500 a month.
What a country, huh? What a country.
Amazing. But man,
Happy 4th of July.
why $1,300 a month for fees at this complex, Johnny? Built in 2005, so pretty new. Doesn't have any major perceived issues at this point. Eventually, new roof and that kind of thing, but no amenities, no pool, nothing like that. 1,300 a month.
See, I don't think they've done any of their big projects, and we're 21 years in. So I think
They're
maybe they're
preparing for it.
shoring up reserves, right? I was in Holly Royale doing some virtual showings yesterday there, and they're doing plumbing projects. But what their process is that they shore up reserves, they get enough to do a building, they do that building. So they're not hitting everybody with the special assessment to begin. I think they may be kind of doing the same here, is that they didn't take as many reserves as they needed to, and now they're triggered that maybe we need to start. Maybe they did a reserve study, but that's why I think it's so high.
Important part of the contract period, M1, the condo docs, understanding and getting a feel for who's running it. Very different strategies and styles. You'll see some property managers have no fear, no worries about special assessments. They're prepared, they're planned, or they have a strategy like Johnny just said, where they're doing bits and pieces at a time. Other properties, they've kept the fees low for a while, and now they're raising them quite steep, quite quickly in order to try to catch up. So a lot of different things to consider and think about as you get involved in the property.
This is the stuff that, I don't understand why this wasn't and maybe it was discussed. I didn't go to any of the meetings or anything, and maybe I should have, right? But this discussion with the county, with their direction towards putting local people into condos was just so ill-timed. Like our fees are the highest they've ever been for so many different reasons. And insurance was definitely a huge one because of the fire. And then our buildings are just so old. Everybody's doing plumbing and spalling and doing what's necessary, just ill-timed. I mean, just crazy how big these assessments get.
Well, fascinating because the conversation was always, don't tell us what we can't afford when people did bring up things like that. I guess they're not too worried about the HOA fees, but everyone that I talk to is kind of worried about the HOA fees, right, Johnny?
Yeah. Only works with
We
a
see
little
how
bit of
the
socialism, though, right? give you a free condo, and then you can handle the fees.
You go. So talking about
Whoa, Hulahans.
remodeled or new, Johnny. This one's 7 days on the market, moving quick. Super modern, super new, super fresh.
Built in 20. I mean, dude, that's an attractive price as well. They did not come out at $1,000 a foot. That's 3,500 feet, man. And 2020 for Hawaii is brand new. And here it is again. This was somebody's dream. That's how you move.
It was someone's
Irresistible.
dream, and they're moving
Yeah,
on after a few years.
there it is. We built it. It was awesome. We had a great time. Now the grandkids.
I'm going to say it's a small percentage of people that hang out in the original idea for a long, long time. Take that as a little relief, a little loosening of the pressure you might be putting on yourself to execute the decision at a high level right away and never make another decision again. We have clients, lots of clients, that have made other moves since they made the first move, right? Some away from the island, some into a different property, some into a second property, some that recently got a beachfront house that are already looking at properties 3 times more than that one. It's across the board. People are thinking about the next move, even while making the first move.
Maui attracts dreamers that can actually execute the dream. So when they come up with another dream, they can just go on to that. So Pikake, Hana Kauai. Here's one of those outliers, Danny. Completely redone, so justified the $699 for a 1 bedroom. Just looking
This
for
is
one.
one of those properties as well that people love. It's a very boutique, small complex, just a few units, small parking, community. When it comes up, it just hangs out at the $699 price because they know there's a lover along there somewhere. This one's remodeled and they're going to get their $699. Anywhere else, $699 would feel crazy. At a property like Pikake, you're like, okay.
That's a very, very fragrant flower for making leis too. That was my first job on Molokai. I think I was all of 10 years old. I would get to this Pikake farm at 5 a.m. because you pick the buds before they bloomed. And I would just put that into a half-gallon of milk jug, and that was my job. And then I had to chase the guy to get paid occasionally. Kalamakai, here we go. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. We're in the money.
Was a workforce housing project,
Mm-hmm,
Johnny.
mm-hmm. Here we
A
go
lot of
again.
people got involved with in a down year. I know a lot of
Yep.
real estate agents got involved at this complex because they showed little income for a year. They qualified. They got in at a good price.
And now they're going to get out.
There you
There
go.
you have
Yeah, people getting in for about
521.
500,000 for a 3 bedroom brand new condo at the time. Now you turn around and sell it for 800 a couple years later. You're feeling pretty good.
That's why they changed the workforce housing rules because it was always that way. Man, make one family rich. Here we go. 2 bedroom, 1.5 bath upstairs. 400, Danny, on purpose, and took 85 days to find the buyer.
I think that's still a bit high for what it is, 400. But yeah, they found someone eventually. You got to come down on that price to overcome the ick. It's
We'll
old, it's
see.
dated. We'll see what it closes at.
Somebody else looked at it and they're like, I'll slap a coat of lipstick on it. We'll be fine. Here we go. Kai Makani, kind of a deal. I'm going to say it, Danny. 3 bedroom, 2 bath for $1 million. I remember that was the
Came
average
down to a
too.
deal. 1,170,000,
It
probably perceived market. They came down to sub-milli. Hey, that makes sense for me. I'm going to get involved with that.
moved on it. It's nice shape, man. We're fans. I like this location here.
Great spot for residential, second home, lock and leave lifestyle. This is one of the spots you really want to consider on the south side.
Ooh, here we go. 5.25, Danny.
The penthouse, vacation rentable, operated by a hotel group, started off 6.9, Johnny, down to 5.2. I said it earlier. Anything in that $3 to $5 million range in Wailea McKenna always feels like it closes for at least a $500,000 less than the asking price. When you get up to the 15, 20, 25 million, then you feel like you're 2 to 5 million less than the asking price.
Agreed.
This is luxury lifestyle on the south side. Second home, could be used as a vacation rental. I gotta imagine a lot of people don't rent these out.
Mm-mm.
It's all for me.
Bruh, somebody stole it.
Another one, $500,000 less. McKenna Surf, 240 days. It's a location play here. Got those steps internally again. Not a fan. Why do we got so many steps inside condos?
Let's just never bring that back as a design feature, shall we?
Seriously. People want condo for easy living. Cooler action, Johnny.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? Kula 200? Is it Ulumalu again. I don't know, man, but yeah, seems very cool.
Views for days, 4 acres,
Yes,
3,600
sir.
square feet, plus another 700 in the cottage for 2.4. That feels like
I,
pretty good value.
that's what I was gonna say. Well played, man. These guys got it. Dig it.
It's got some remodel, got the sauna in there, got the wood ceilings, vaulted.
So cooler.
I'm a fan.
That's why I cooler. Here we go. Kamani. Wow, Danny. What did we sell ours for? Almost a
960.
million? 960. So full hundy below.
This is interesting. Went over asking by 10,000
So,
in
well,
a lesser desirable spot in the neighborhood.
and this kind of highlights that danger of the going for the event-based pricing or what you consider to be event-based is sometimes you don't create the competition. You just get the one great offer. Still got a little higher. Well done.
In a dwindling market, the event base can be a little bit of a challenging pricing strategy because you don't quite know where the market is and how many people will be interested. In a high market, COVID market, you can push the max. In event base, you're going to get multiple offers, escalation clauses, the whole thing. So different strategies for different seasons. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't. Ultimately, the choice is yours, whatever the professional opinion you hear from us. The seller does choose the pricing structure.
Amen. Their house.
With that, happy 4th of July. Celebrate, be responsible, especially with the fireworks.
Yes.
You want to enjoy all 10 fingers for the remainder
Keep
of
on.
your life. We'll see you on Monday with the Maui Hot List Hulahan. Hui ho.